I'm John Mercure. Welcome to Focus on the Falls. We're in the Menomonee Falls High School Library. This is going to be a really good conversation. It's an important conversation. It's about a book. It's about an effort in the school to make sure kids feel included. Let me introduce you to who we have here. Next to me is Cole. He's a junior. Savannah is a senior. Next to Savannah is Zoe, a senior. Liz and Claire. Liz is a senior. Claire is a junior. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to start, Cole, you're closest, so I guess you get the first question.
Okay.
Tell me about the book. Tell me about Jax Me, the book.
So the book was written a couple of years ago by an alumni of the high school.
That's cool.
The alumni has autism and is on the autism spectrum, and it's a story about inclusion and making sure you're including others while you're growing up, and how it feels to not particularly have friends or those you can go to, and what happens when those friends make other friends, and learning that friends aren't exclusive sometimes, and that you would need to be open to including more people.
I love that message in the story. Savannah, why is the message so important?
The message is important because it's all about including others, and if we don't include others, it can have a bigger impact than just the people that we don't include, and it's important that we do.
Yeah, that we do, right? That we make just people feel comfortable. Zoe, as you look through the book, and now you've talked about the book quite a bit, what's the key message that you take away from the book?
Honestly, I take away like a lot of the message of kindness and inclusion. Like, it doesn't hurt to be kind. It's not hard to be kind, and honestly, if you're not, really does have a lasting impact on everyone. And it's just really an important message that will take you all through life, not just high school and middle school.
Liz, do you feel like if people are kind and we care about each other and we do the right thing, that it's easier to learn, it's easier to be comfortable? Can you talk about how the two kind of go hand in hand?
Absolutely. I think kindness is a huge thing in our world, and I think a lot of people lack it, but it's a big thing that it's just so simple that can make someone stay. It's almost like saying hi to someone can seriously make someone stay rather than just ignoring someone, and it can totally change the trajectory of anyone. So I think that kindness really plays a factor into people's lives every single day and every decision that you make.
Claire, it's a small book with a big message.
Yeah.
When you think about the message that's most important to you in the book, what thoughts come to mind?
I think the book and the author do a really good job of highlighting what it means to be your best self and to be okay with doing things differently than other people or having other challenges that you might come across, and that other people need to be supportive of that and show empathy and show kindness about that. It's okay to be different than someone else.
Where do you guys find out what's going on in the world? Do you follow the news? I know you might not watch the news at 10 o'clock at night like your parents used to. Do you get your news from TikTok? Do you get it from YouTube? Where do you find your news? Somebody jump in here. When you find out what's going on in the world, how do you usually find that out?
Me personally, I follow a bunch of news accounts locally in Milwaukee on Instagram and TikTok, and then I get consumed news from there, as well as reporters themselves, which is really nice.
That's good to hear. Yeah. All right, so I ask you that question because I want to ask you, this all ties back to the book. How many of you, when you hear the news, you hear what's going on in our world, think sometimes it's not very nice, it's not very kind, we got to be better to each other? Raise your hand. How many of you get disappointed? So when you get disappointed, and then you have an opportunity to take a book like this and share a message of inclusion, Zoe, when you think about the book and you think about what's happening in our world and what you're given the opportunity to do when you talk about the book, how important is that?
Yeah, I will say, starting off going off of what you said about how the news is always so negative, you'll read an article or you'll actually watch the news, it's also negative, and I feel like it is important to share the positives too as well. And I think this book does a really good job, and it is just a really good lesson for life in general, to include others, to be kind, be your best self, accepting yourself as well, I think is very important.
Liz, I love that the school district and the superintendent and others have given you the voice and given you the opportunity to take this and say, yeah, we're going to focus on this and talk about it. How important is it to go to school in a place that allows you to do this sort of thing?
I think it's very important, and I'm very grateful and lucky that we've been able to share this opportunity together and really do our best to make an impact, because I think that we all have the same belief in inclusion and kindness, and to actually do something that physically helped people was just so fulfilling and so heartwarming, and I think I can speak for everyone.
I love what you guys do. All right, Liz, so tell me what it's like. What have you been doing with the book?
So we did our Jax Me like kindness learning day, and we had about 30 middle schoolers come and visit, and we had Miss Petzel she's a parent and a teacher at the middle school, and she talked about her son and what it means for inclusion. He deals with autism, and we got to have this day where we set up activities and we set up learning discussions with the book, and we overall just got to talk and learn and just grow like kind of with each other, and we just learned so much together as a group, and it was really inspiring, and a lot of the middle schoolers responded with feeling like this was such a positive impact on them, which was great.
Claire, how important is it to spend time with people that aren't like you, that have autism or have other things going on that most of us never realize or think about?
Yeah, a lot of my friends and family have struggled with disabilities or autism, and it's really important for me to be able to reach out, but be a genuine friend to them and not treat them like they're different or treat them like they're less than what they actually are, and treating them the same as I would treat any of my other friends, and making sure that they feel included and loved even for their challenges that they might face.
All right, Cole, so take me inside when you were working with the middle schoolers in the book and you were trying to share this message. Tell me what that's been like.
So we started this process back in about December on what we should do with the book, and then we came to the decision to do an activity day with the middle schoolers, which took an intense amount of planning. So we decided to do 3 stations. One would be creating bookmarks and pins, one for the student themselves, and one to give to someone else. And then another station was a presentation by Miss Julie Petzel from the middle school. She's a middle school science teacher, as well as a parent with an autistic child, like you said. And she gave a presentation on inclusion. And then we also had the illustrator, Miss Kathy McBride, who showed her illustrative style and her artistic process. And then our last station was a typical book discussion on all the great questions of Jax Me.
I wanted to ask you, I guess, Zoe, I'll ask you this question. Autism, disabilities, those are very serious things, but a lot of times in a school setting, someone may feel left out or bullied just because they don't feel comfortable or because people aren't nice to them. Even if you don't have a disability or something that's diagnosed, why is it so important that we include people and that we grab people and take them in and make them feel like they're part of our life?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so important, especially here at the high school. We do have a lot of clubs such as this, Best Buddies, and all of that good stuff. I think it's so important because in this young age, like, connecting with others and feeling like you belong is kind of what it's all about, and it's so important to just,
Liz, how cool is it to be able to take this book, which was written by a local kid and illustrated by a former teacher here in the Falls? How cool was it to be able to take that and really bring it to life and to help other people?
I think it's like more than cool. Like if there was a word to describe it, it would, like, I couldn't even think of it as like how cool it is. It's been such a great opportunity, and just to kind of see it like come back, I think is just so inspiring, and for us and for like the author himself.
Do any of you ever feel like you've been bullied or not treated nice?
Yeah.
Can you relate to that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was definitely, like, when we started this club around my sophomore year, I was very, like, inspired by it because I have dealt with bullying a lot, and it got worse as, like, my years went on, but this club has been such, like, an outlet and such, like, an inspiration for me to just kind of, like, feel connected.
That's what I was going to ask you. So this book, how great a tool is this book if you're in a situation where, you know, you're feeling like I don't really quite fit in, the book, how important is the book? Go ahead, Savannah, the book.
I think that it's a very important book. I'm going to speak from personal experience.
Yeah.
I struggled with making friends my freshman and sophomore year a lot. And in the book, the main character struggles with it as well. And then he finds someone who reaches out and doesn't stop trying to be kind no matter what. And they form a friendship it's really touching and inspiring, and it's a really great story.
Claire, what could you most relate to in the book?
They use a phrase in the book that it says, be your own rock star, or like assuming that you're going to be your best self. And I found that, like, coming from a different school and switching into the fall school system, that it was really impactful to, like, find what I really wanted to do, and that's changed over the course of my life in middle school and in high school. But finding the people like Cole who have really supported me and making sure that like I'm comfortable in my own skin and making the best choices I can be to be my best self. And I think the characters in Jax Me really helped promote that, and it was inspiring for me to show the middle schoolers that it's okay to be who you are and to be comfortable in that, which I think is a hard thing to learn.
Cole, it sounds like a basic question. Why is it important to support people who are struggling instead of just staying in your own path and doing your own thing?
Well, you never know what anyone else is going through. You're living your own independent life, but it's important to connect with others because maybe you have a shared experience that you can help them through. Or maybe you're dealing with something that they can help you through. It's that, like, companionship that is very important, just to have connection. So when you're struggling, you get help, and when someone else is struggling, they get help.
Zoe, what happens next with the club? What are you guys doing? You're going to be graduating, going on and flying off and doing really cool stuff pretty soon, but what happens next?
So hopefully we have been kind of talking about perhaps doing another book club next year, like discussing another book. I'm not fully sure on that one as I'm graduating. But we also have done some other things besides this book as well. We visited some of the elementary schools and we planted tulips to represent mental health and the importance of that as well. And we actually will be returning to see how that went and going with the elementary schoolers to bring around some baskets and yeah.
I love that. That's really cool. All right, the two juniors, are you going to keep this thing going? Are you going to do other things next year?
Yeah.
It's an important part. It's kind of your legacy, I guess, right here at the school. You started something really, really cool. How awesome is it, Claire, that it's local people connected to the book, the author, the illustrator?
Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts, especially like bringing the illustrator in who has worked here prior and having students like Anthony who are able to really connect with the space and making sure that their movement that they've started is continuing in the schools that they're a part of, as well as Miss Petzel who works here.
Yep.
The middle school students really connected with her. They were asking her about homework. It was really just a big connection of all the Falls people coming together to kind of spread a movement that's really important to us and that we believe is important to everyone else.
Yeah. I'm proud of you guys. You took this and did it. You could have done a lot of other things. You're helping other people. It's selfless. It's really cool. And I'm proud to be in a district that allows this sort of thing to happen and to thrive and to really make a difference. Cole, Savannah, Zoe, Liz, Claire, thank you so much for spending some time with us on Focus on the Falls.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you.
job, you guys. Great job.